They're on the north side. They look like they reached the north.
Good evening, everyone. If you please take your seats, our program is going to begin in about 1 minute.
Oh, sure. Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Good. Well, you're cool. What happened to you? Oh, wonderful. Oh, okay. You had to book me 7:30 in the morning. Sorry. I'd like to be food for that.
Well, good evening. There we go. I won't touch that again. Well, welcome everyone, and thank you all for coming. Obviously, a very important and exciting night for Cochrane. Let me just get that turned down just a little. Thank you.
Obviously, historical celebration tonight. Very special occasion. So we were here roughly 2 years ago. I think we were standing, well, maybe right here. And we started that process of sod turning and the event of the bridge actually taking place. And we shared that honor with one of our neighboring residents from the Stony Nakota with a blessing. So I'd like to do the same thing tonight and open tonight's ceremony with the blessing from Irene Baptiste.
She is an elder from the Bears Paw Band of the Stony Nakota Nation. So is Irene with us? Come on up, Irene. And please welcome Irene Baptiste from the Stony Nakota Nation. We're very grateful that you would help us bless tonight's ceremony and the bridge.
Thank you for inviting me again. I'm just going to bless, pray in my language. And actually, Osinoka, Ngake, Winjanina, Tano, Inchituka, Ehewan, Chakpede, Shans Nangaki, Nibans. When your scripture led all nations, Ehewan, Chakpede, Osinoka, Zeus, Washington, that Mangichok nation is a part da Egitia, Victor, Mabicam, the Genanga is da and the Isindi coaching. They live in the Hikan Carmen, Janina, it's a Chagitia, Arajana, it's in a patch, yes. Thank you, Jesus. God bless you all. Take care.
Thank you again, Irene. Okay. Friends, honored guests, community members, welcome to this
much anticipated and long awaited day for Cochrane. Look at all the smiles. This is awesome. Before we get started, I would like to take a moment to thank our pipers, Dave Kirk, Kimberly Gunn, and Paul Bridle. It's no secret that Jack Tennant loved bagpipes, So I believe this was a truly fitting and honoring way to welcome home Jack, and that was really the
rendition that they did tonight was called Jack's Welcome Home. So thank you for that. All right, let's open the bridge, shall we? It's cold. I'm going to move along quickly. If we had done this a week ago, I wouldn't need my tooth. But yeah.
So one of the many things that makes Cochrane so special is the large number of community events that we hold and community gatherings. From Light Up, Canada Day, Cochrane Rodeo and Labor Day Parade. Cochranites love to come together in the spirit of celebration. So tonight is another one of those occasions to come together with that added, the physically distance added to that. Of course, thank you, COVID, for that. So my hope is that you enjoy what we have in store for you tonight. And as I said, COVID continues to impact our day-to-day lives. And I'd like to remind you tonight to please physically distance. You can see we have the chairs all spread out, and wear a mask. And actually tonight it's warmer to do so. It is my great pleasure to open today's program by recognizing some of the special guests that we have joined with us tonight and whose presence adds to another special touch to this event. So from the Government of Alberta, we have
the Honorable Rick McIver, Alberta Minister of Transportation. We have thank you, Rick. We have the Honorable Tracy Allard, Alberta's Minister of Municipal Affairs. And our provincial MLA, Airdrie-Cochrane, Peter Guthrie. And of course, our own town council, Councillor Patrick Wilson, Councillor Tara McFadden, Councillor Alex Reed, Councillor Morgan Nagel, Councillor Susan Flowers, and Councillor Marnie Fedeko could not be here tonight, and I would just say that she would love to be here, but she has been waiting on her COVID results from a test that she's taken, and she's doing the right thing and staying home just as a precaution, but she would really like to be here tonight. So
thank you, Marnie, for respecting the COVID. Thank you. Also, a huge welcome to the Tennant family. We have Jack's wife and partner in both life and business, Brenda Tennant, his eldest son, Alan, Jack's brother, Mark, and many other relatives, including grandchildren and great-grandchildren joining us tonight.
So while we were here celebrating, we're also mindful of cost and budget. So I'm happy to announce and recognize our event sponsors. PCL Construction, Lafarge, Urban Systems, RJC Engineers, the Community of Greystone, and Orange Frog Production,
who will be more formally introduced later in the program. So I know everyone is excited to see a light show and fireworks, so bear with me. I need to share a few words about the project behind me. We have heard countless times, and when I say countless,
I mean a great number of times, about the need for transportation infrastructure improvements in our community. Behind me sits an integral piece of a greater puzzle that continues the work to address our traffic issues. Motorists, cyclists, and pedestrians will utilize the Jack Tennant Memorial Bridge for many years to come. And I hope while doing so, they contemplate the efforts involved in such a great structure. While this council has the great privilege of cutting today's ribbon, I want to take a moment to recognize the many previous councils and administrations that dedicated countless hours to make today a possibility, some of which are here tonight. So here's where you have to bear with me. I had the privilege to be on council in 2002 when we struck a bridge committee to identify the future need for this bridge, put a funding strategy in place, and truly kickstart this very project. So personally, this is very gratifying and humbling for me to see this through to completion. Now, I'm as guilty as anyone driving across a bridge in someone else's municipality and not thinking twice about everything that went into building it. But I can attest firsthand, having been a part of this project since 2002 that I mentioned, the extreme amount of time and energy it takes to cross a river. In fact, back in those early planning days, many people in Cochrane didn't want us to be even talking about building this bridge. But what we were doing then was planning for today. And we continue to plan for Cochrane's tomorrow. More on that in weeks to come. So I've heard many questions asked, why here? Why this location for the bridge? This site, and what I can say, being part of that conversation, was that that's a great question. This site was chosen with great care. Hydrologists, ice flow analysis, engineering, all went into choosing this very location. And so it began. This $53 million project represents our community's largest infrastructure investment to date and was funded through off-site levies and provincial MSI grants. Now, many of you are sitting out there wondering, while your teeth are chattering, what is an off-site levy? Off-site levies are fees that the town charges developers to build in Cochrane. We then save those fees to help contribute to large projects such as this one. So since the early 2000s, every development in Cochrane has contributed to the funding of this bridge. So I can stand before you today and share that no tax dollars were used to build this important connection. Zero. I think that, come on. So as residents, we have all been sitting on the sidelines, anxiously, it's hard to say in the cold, anxiously awaiting the opening and watching while 67,000 hours of labor helped place 500,000 kilograms of steel plate girders, 250,000 kilograms of rebar, 1,750 cubic meters of concrete to make this 160 meters of length of bridge that sits 14 meters above the river at its highest point. Those are just bridge factoids that I knew that everybody was dying to hear tonight. And this grade is 3%, by the way. And bike lanes on either side, a 3-meter regional pathway to help connect to our lovely trail systems. And separated by the concrete barrier to keep pedestrians quite safe. And you may notice last night that the bridge has the ability to light up underneath. And we're looking forward to many years of celebrating special events by lighting up the bridge. So the Jack Tennant Memorial Bridge and connecting roadway will help take the pressure off provincial highways while providing a crucial secondary access to not only residents, but emergency vehicles as well. Spanning the Bow River, this multimodal infrastructure will connect drivers, cyclists, and runners alike and doubles our current traffic capacity north to south. This significant investment demonstrates the town's commitment to investing in our community, spurring economic development, and positioning the town for continued prosperity. This is truly an exciting day, and I'm so glad that it's finally here. And thank you for bearing with me. And my gloves. So as I mentioned, this is only one piece of the puzzle in addressing Cochrane's growing traffic congestion. And while we are making investments in our local traffic infrastructure, we are continuing to work with the province in making investments in provincial highways that flow through our community. And this is my segue into introducing our Minister of Transportation, which is why it's extremely fitting to have the Honourable Minister Rick McIver, Minister of Transportation, and MLA for Calgary-Hayes with us today. Over the last 2 years, Minister McIver and Town Council and I have met numerous times to discuss Cochrane's vital transportation infrastructure needs, and in last year's budget, the Minister announced funding support for the Highway 1A and 22 interchange. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it's that busy intersection over to the west. While we continue to work together, I am so happy to have the Minister here with us tonight. Please join me in welcoming Minister McIver to the stage.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you everybody for being here tonight. Special welcome to the Tennant family. I can only imagine how proud you must all be for this well-deserved honor for Jack and for all the people of Cochrane. Now, last thing I want to do is argue with the mayor. He said there was no tax dollars involved with this, and your mayor always tells the truth. I believe what he meant is there was no municipal tax dollars involved with this bridge. He was telling the truth. So I know why the Minister of Municipal Affairs is here, because she's the one that it's her department that did those. And then I figured out why the mayor wants to be here, so that I can say all in front of you that yes, we have agreed to fund and build the bridge at 1A and 22. There, I'm done now. It's a pleasure to bring greetings on behalf of Premier Jason Kenney. And it's great to be here with Minister Tracy Allard, our Municipal Affairs Minister, and your amazing MLA. Yes, indeed. Your amazing MLA, who has gone to great pains and great lengths to advocate for this bridge. When it comes to being a pain in my butt, which is actually qualifies as doing his job right, there's none greater than Peter Guthrie. Even if I tried to forget what was important to Cochrane, I'd never get a chance. But also alongside Peter is your mayor and your council and your town administration, who are in, as the mayor said, he was telling the truth again, but we get together to talk on a regular basis, because he and his colleagues also don't let us forget what's important to Cochrane. But we're here tonight to open this bridge and also to honor Jack Tennant. Jack, of course, is one of those larger-than-life figures, known far and wide, well beyond Cochrane, but I know very well in Cochrane. A newspaper man who has owned Page 5 of the Calgary Sun for many years. At the height of his career, it said that Jack's column was a must-read. He called it as he saw it, and he was never afraid to dish it out when necessary, especially to elected people, but not exclusively to elected people. But Jack's passion, as I understand it, was keeping the heartbeat of local communities alive. He knew it was just important to inform people about what was going on locally as it was to make the major headlines. He bought and sold many community newspapers over the year and founded the Cochrane Eagle, a newspaper, as you know, that still publishes today. Jack was always quick with a good story and was always there to help those in need. I'm told he would have been delighted to spend summer evenings on that new lookout point on the bridge, and that bridge will provide a vital link between North and South Cochrane and opens an alternate route in and out of town. The project came in on time and out of budget. Maybe we should have Cochrane run all our projects. We do get a lot of them right, but listen, you gotta say, every time you get something on time and on budget, that's for special mention. Alberta's government was proud to support this social and economic connection through the Municipal Sustainability Initiative. It's a fitting tribute to a man who loved life, loved newspapers, and loved the people around him. And while we honor Jack and celebrate the opening of this bridge, just wanted to thank you all for letting me be a small part of this very important event. Thank you.
Have to do it. Thank you, Minister McIver. I would now like to welcome the Honourable Minister Tracy Allard, Minister of Municipal Affairs and MLA for Grande Prairie. Minister Allard was appointed to her position in the Cabinet Shuffle at the end of August. Since that time, she has crisscrossed across the province, and I have personally had the opportunity to meet with her. I think tonight is the 4th time. So you can imagine how busy the Honourable Minister is and why her attendance tonight is so meaningful. Earlier, I spoke about the MSI funds, and Minister McIver did the same, that supported this project. Those funds come from her office. So it's very fitting that she is here with us tonight to celebrate this momentous occasion. Please join me in welcoming Minister Allard.
Wow, well, thank you very much. I have to say I'm from the Yukon, so don't feel bad for me. I don't wear a coat until November. It's just kind of how I roll. And thank you for ordering warmer weather than Airdrie ordered for us today. This is way better, so you win. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this special occasion. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of the Government of Alberta and, of course, our Premier, Jason Kenney. And I just want to say this is a big day for Cochrane. Congratulations on completing the biggest capital project in your history. I did not know Mr. Jack Tennant, but learning about him as I prepared for this event was inspiring. The founder of the Cochrane Eagle, columnist, philanthropist, photographer, and grandfather. He was clearly legendary. The Jack Tennant Memorial Bridge brings together the south side of Cochrane with the north while taking cars off the highway. I'm pleased that the Alberta government, your government, played a role in this important project. The town of Cochrane has committed more than $3 million of provincial MSI funding for this bridge. The MSI program provides cities and towns the flexibility they need to complete important projects like this bridge. This capital program will provide almost $1 billion across Alberta to municipalities this year alone. And before I continue, I just wanted to say that I decided to come here tonight. Well, for one, your mayor is tenacious, so you have an incredible advocate in your mayor. And he invited me, was it day 2 of me being a minister? I think it was day 2. And I was delighted. I'm here because you matter. Your community matters. Your future matters. Your lives and your livelihoods matter. These are tough times for Alberta right now. The combination of COVID-19 and the world economic oil crash, the collapse of our energy, the worst economic downturn since the dirty 30s, these have been hard days for Albertans. And Premier Kenney likes to say that tough times don't last, but tough people do. And we know that Albertans are tough people. We have what it takes to get through this, and we will get through this together. And your government has a plan. Alberta's recovery plan is a bold, ambitious, long-term strategy to build, diversify, create jobs. It's a plan today that provides hope for tomorrow. The Municipal Stimulus Program, or MSP, is run by my department, Municipal Affairs, and it's a part of this recovery plan. Through the MSP, we will provide $500 million across Alberta to municipalities like Cochrane to do important work now to stimulate the economy for the future. I'm proud to say, I'm happy to say, I'm not supposed to tell you this, I'm going to tell you a secret. Your MSP project has been approved for Cochrane. It's approved, it's in the final stages, and it will be prepared for my signature on Monday. That's very good news for Cochrane. It's approximately $3.5 million of investment here in your town. And so in return, I ask you to continue to hold out that hope for our future. I ask you to continue to be leaders like you are in Alberta, leading the way to a hope for a brighter future. I ask you to help us in cutting regulatory burden and red tape so that we attract more investment. I firmly believe that the most compassionate thing we can do right now is stimulate our economy and create jobs so that we have a brighter tomorrow. We have to differentiate our province from the rest of the world so the world chooses Alberta as the best place to live and to invest. I'm almost done, I promise. I know everybody's cold. The provincial government has also teamed up with Ottawa to provide more than $600 million to municipalities who have felt the financial impact of this pandemic. These operating dollars will help support your municipality through this time of crisis. Through these programs, we will get Albertans back to work. Together, we'll rebuild our economy. And together, we'll have a vibrant and thriving province for generations to come. Thank you for having me to celebrate some good news. It's time to have some good news in our province. Thank you very much, everyone.
The joys of a pandemic. Thank you, Minister Allard. That is awesome news. $3.5 million for our community. Thank you so much. Okay, next up, I'd like to welcome our MLA, Peter Guthrie. Over the last 2 years, Peter and I and Council have continued to work very closely to advocate for the needs of Cochrane. Minister McIver, you stole half my speech tonight. We are so lucky to have an MLA that lives in our community and understands firsthand the issues and opportunities facing Cochrane. And that hasn't happened for a long time, I should add. So please join me in welcoming MLA Guthrie. Peter, would you join me up here? Well, good evening. Thank you for coming out on this crispy evening. I will try to be quick here. I moved to this community 11 years ago. When I moved here, there was 15,000 people, and we are now over 30,000. And it doesn't matter what circles that you run in, whatever friend groups you had, whatever community event you were at, you were certain to hear something about traffic here in Cochrane. Once I got elected, that was something I never heard again. No, of course not. Obviously, it's the number one issue that I hear about. I'm hearing it time and time again. And I'm proud that we have a government that's listening. And as Minister McIver mentioned, last year, the 1A and 22 intersection project was announced. We also had the 1A widening west of Cochrane, and now tonight you heard that we have a project to help relieve some of the traffic congestion that we have through town. And then tomorrow, officially, we have the Jack Tennant Memorial Bridge that's opening up. So, yes. So I want to thank the Premier. I want to thank Minister McIver as well as Minister Allard for recognizing the issues that we have here and with traffic and being creative to try to find ways to help us out. So thank you so much for that. And I have to put out a big shout out here to the Mayor, Jeff Genung, his administration and the council for all the work, advocacy, and dedication that they put forward. And I'll tell you what, they have a terrific team. And I really enjoy working with them, and I'm going to enjoy working with them with all of these future projects. So thank you. And tonight, is about a connection that's being made from the south to the north. And when I was going through my nomination process, I met a man named Jack Tennant. And Jack and I sat down on a number of occasions, and he gave me all sorts of advice and wisdom. And you know, as a 50-year-old rookie into politics, I just so appreciated his insight. And he's a wonderful man, and I think it's just so fitting that going forward, we are going to be remembering him every day with this bridge. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Peter.
There we go. Thank you, Peter. So throughout the event, I've referenced the name of this bridge, and so have many others before me here tonight, the Jack Tennant Memorial Bridge. This name was chosen by our community after a 3-step public engagement process. We took suggestions, narrowed down the options, and then asked the community to vote on at least 11 choices. We had many suggestions, and over 2,000 votes were cast. The residents of Cochrane chose Jack Tennant's name, and that will live forever on this bridge. Jack, a Cochrane resident, founder of the Cochrane Eagle, and we've all spoken about this tonight, a philanthropist, passed away in 2018, and Jack's legacy continues to thrive in Cochrane. Of all the things that Jack achieved in his life, he was possibly most famous for his ability to build connections between communities and cultures. Hence the bridge. I think it's just so fitting. His compassion stretched beyond Cochrane to the neighboring Stoney Nakoda Nation. The relationships and friendships built with the Stoney people was so significant that they gave him an honorary name, Gentle Buffalo. I would like to invite Jack's son, Alan, to come up and say a few words about his father. Alan.
Well, thank you. Irene, thank you for your blessing at the start. That was fantastic. And thank you, Your Worship, Mayor Genung and Council, and Ministers McIver, Allard, and Peter. Thank you for your kind words about Dad. Well, how weird is it to have a bridge named after your dad? It is kind of strange, but as Dad would have said, unless you've been dead or living in Edmonton, we'll explain it later, Edmontonians, you would know what an honor this is. And yeah, we all know that the jokes would be flying by now. Dad would have said, well, just a minute, do I have to pay for this bridge? Like he had $53 million sitting around. And by the way, I want to thank the sponsors. I think Dad would love giving these folks some ink, as he would have put it. So again, just want to underscore how impressive all this is. And it's thanks to the generosity of Urban Systems, RJC Engineers, PLC, Lafarge, and Orange Frog Productions for the bridge lineup that we're about to see. And really a big thank you to the Greystone community for sponsoring the fireworks. Can't wait to see that. So many of us can imagine Dad asking if this could be a toll bridge. And my brother's watching us on Facebook Live right now, and from Kansas, where he's marooned. And he's probably chuckling too, because we know darn well Dad would have definitely looked for the revenue angle. But I think he would have quickly come up with a couple of plans to make the money go towards local charities like the Cochrane Foundation. And actually, more than anything else, he'd really like to get this ceremony over with and let people get on with making use of it. But more than anything, he would say that the bridge is good for the town. Dad loved Cochrane. And he often talked about how he fell in love with the place the very first time he drove down that hill on the 1A. And I think many of you share that common bond with Dad. And he would be honored to have this bridge in this part of town that he loved so much, named after him. Dad was a storyteller, and his stories were always about people. Sometimes they were stories about the underdog or someone who had suffered injustice, but more often than not, it would be a story about something good happening or needing to happen in this community. I know I would love the setting of the bridge. And as Uncle Mark and I were joking about earlier, it's not like he would have worn out the pathways jogging or riding bikes around here, but he would have loved the setting. The beautiful vistas that showcase how Cochrane honors the land and respects the movements of nature. It's a powerful thing. He would love that you could drive by and see the Humane Society volunteers walking dogs up the way. That would be good for the Humane Society, and to have more people going by their door. He was very proud of his bond with the Tony Nakota Nation, who gave Dad the honorary name. And I noticed you chickened out on that. Tataga, Tawachi, Tiga. How'd they do, Irene? That close? Which, of course, we know means gentle buffalo, and with my teeth chattering, I can barely get that out. But Brad would note that this bridge is yet another way for these communities to link up, and that would have been good for everyone. He would love that there's a hockey rink right next door, but more than that, he would love how the rec complex itself was good for the town, and now it'll be easier to get to. He'd love that all four of his great-grandchildren have already made great use of the rec center. He'd love that his granddaughter Lisa works at the rec center as a physiotherapist, another shameless plug, and will cross this bridge every day because she and Laura live up the hill, an area that Dad, the former realtor, counseled the girls to consider buying in because maybe this was insider information, but he said the town was going to build another bridge, although it was common knowledge. But he said this was going to be a good thing. So I've taken to calling this the Jack. Whatever folks call it or what they use it for, Dad will be pleased and honored. His closing comment, or his tidbit, if you will, would be that connecting one side to another is a good thing because it connects rather than divides, and only good can come from such a thing. We as a family are honored, humbled, and more than anything, happy for Dad and Cochrane. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ellen, for being here and sharing those lovely words. Now I'd like to ask Brenda Tennant and the great-grandchildren to join me here in unveiling the bronze plaque. So please welcome Brenda. And I hope I get all these names right. Aviana, Mateo, Lachlan, and Smith. And this plaque is going to sit on either end of the bridge, and we're just going to use the easel tonight so everybody can see it. But if you would come up, and I'd just like to take a moment while everyone's coming up here to recognize that this plaque was made locally by the Begg family at the Studio West Bronze Foundry just down the road here. Thanks to the Beggs for another great product. Here they come. I'm going to put my tooth back on.
That was good. That was totally good. Cut. All right.
Well, that's pretty cool. So I mentioned earlier that we had a number of organizations step up, and Alan mentioned them in his speech too, so thank you for that, Alan. But tonight's events were all brought to us by our sponsors. So each of these sponsors had a hand in the construction of the bridge. So while COVID has created constraints for businesses large and small alike, these organizations have made commitments to Cochrane, not only to help build our bridge, but to help our community celebrate. Please join me in recognizing PCL Construction, Lafarge, Urban Systems, and RJC Engineers. And just a little bit about what each of them have done. So PCL and its trade partners were responsible for all aspects of construction required to complete the bridge, from river berms and pilings in the river, bridge concrete work, steel girders, and architectural guardrail and the bridge lighting. Lafarge and its partners constructed the roads and infrastructure connecting the community to the bridge. And Urban Systems was the design engineer for the roadway and responsible for overall project management of both the bridge and the road. While RJC Engineers, the lead engineer and bridge consultant, were responsible for the design of the crossing. So thank you to our sponsors once again. So I'd also like at this time to recognize Orange Frog Productions, who will be lighting up the bridge, and we're getting to that, and I promise in like 1 minute. And Orange Frog has donated a portion of their services tonight to make this event possible. Pierre and his crew have been working since early this morning to set up all these lights on the bridge. In spite of the cold weather, they have been working so hard to contribute a very special experience for our community tonight. Thanks, guys. So if I could have Mr. Kyle Coburn, project engineer from Urban Systems, come forward. Mr. Jeff Calwaite with associate at RJC Engineers. Mr. John Pistak, I'm sorry if I get the names wrong, general manager at Lafarge, and Mr. Justin Fraser, project manager from PCL Construction. We're all going to have a switch, and we're going to count down and light up this bridge.
Okay. Yeah.
I said Justin, I meant Justine. It's Justine Fraser, of course it is. Thank you. So here we are, guys. Thank you again for sponsoring tonight's event. To help me count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nobody can hear me. That was awesome. Thank you again, Orange Frog, and our sponsors for making the light up possible. Okay.
moving right along. I'd like to now welcome our town council, MLA Guthrie, Minister McIver, and Minister Allard back to the stage, and we'll do a quick ribbon cutting, and then we will officially open the Jack Tennant Memorial Bridge. And a little bit of a warning, there's going to be a bit of a bang with this ribbon cutting. So please join me up here.
Oh, I see. Oh, those are the scissors. Oh, those are super.
One minute, please. So if I get everyone with eyes on me, this is for the official towel. So, okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Don't count this. Can I do a countdown?
Yes. Smiling under the mask.
Yeah.
I'll just get it.
Okay. By the way.
3, 2, 1. I hope they're sorry for that.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! That cut it right off, doesn't it?
Okay, I want to thank everyone who joined us here tonight. And while many of you may want to utilize the bridge right away, because we have fireworks, there's this little federal law that doesn't allow for people to be close to explosives. So we need to ask that you wait until later this evening to walk across or drive across, and allow our town staff, which I'd like to thank all of the town staff for all the work that went into tonight, and of course all the bridge building, of course, and everything afterwards of cleaning up. So thank you guys. Okay, for the last part of the agenda, I'm going to ask Josh Hagan, from the VP of Development Community of Greystone, to join me on the stage for the fireworks countdown. The fireworks are orchestrated by Big Bang Fireworks. Dan Roy and his crew are well known for their work in our community and for delivering amazing fireworks productions. Thank you to Josh and Greystone for sponsoring the fireworks for our community's event tonight. Greystone is the vacant land right behind us here to the west, and it has been given land use and for the light industrial and commercial uses, and you'll see some buildings going up here in the near future. So as a landowner of the community of Greystone, Burns West Properties Limited is thrilled to see the Jack Tennant Memorial Bridge officially opened, connecting residents south of the river to the future development of Greystone, Inc. Retail, commercial, industrial, and businesses uses is a critical component to the vibrancy that Greystone will offer to its residents and to the town of Cochrane. So, good night, everybody. Enjoy the show, and thanks for coming out. And Josh, thank you again. This is the official ending of our ceremony, and we'll count down. Josh, if you'd like to help me. Let's count down our fireworks from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the moment you've waited for. And searching in the dark, you sweat soaking through the floor. And buried in your bones, there's an ache that you can't ignore. Taking your breath, still in your mind, and all that was real is left behind. Don't fight it, it's coming from within. It's in this moment, don't be walking together. You're floating, can't you see? Just surrender, cause you feel the feeling taking over. It's fire, it's freedom, it's flooding open. It's a picture in the pulpit and your body motion. There's something bigger than the prick of every bond's holding on. It's not. Tell me, do you want to go? We're coming. We're running away, we're running away. Dr. King, you.
Very good.
Okay, thank you guys. That was so awesome. That was great. Thanks for joining us. Drive home safe. The bridge is open.
Go ahead. You get to be the first one.
No, I'm not gonna go over.
Well, we can't yet.